The scandal that is i.e. Fukuhara has had some further developments. Fukuhara's motives have come to light, which is the standard abduction policy in Japan. If you remember from my previous video, Top 5 Reasons to Live in Japan, number 2, Child Abduction, I mentioned the fact that the foreign minister organized a seminar hosted by the Japanese Embassy to France on March 18, 2018. This seminar taught Japanese parents, and I quote, how to kidnap your child to Japan without worrying about returning said child. This is relevant because this is exactly what Fukuhara did. In the Japanese news, it is said that Fukuhara expected to get visitation with both children. However, at the visitation exchange, Fukuhara only got her son. She claims she panicked and fled to Japan. However, the first thing she did was to submit a petition to obtain sole custody of her son. Only this time, the Japanese embassy miscalculated, expecting the Japanese courts to uphold the common abduction policy. You see, it is the Japanese embassies around the world that teach and advise Japanese nationals how to repossess children. The Taiwanese court system set joint custody for Fukuhara and Chang, as do most countries who value the lives of children. This is fair and just. If Fukuhara has a problem with the terms of visitation, she should have filed a claim with the Taiwanese courts. Normally, when a person removes a child from another country, there are strong repercussions. For example, the U.S. Department of State explains, while traveling in a foreign country, you are subject to the laws of that country. It is important for parents to understand that, although a left-behind parent in the United States may have custody or visitation rights pursuant to a U.S. custody order, that order may not be valid and enforceable in the country in which the child is located. Attempts to remove your child to the United States may endanger your child and others, prejudice any future judicial efforts, and could result in your arrest and imprisonment. This means if you try and take your child from a foreign country, you can be stopped by that country and face serious consequences. But countries like the U.S. and Australia will also stop you when you return unlawfully with your child. You are criminally liable. You are no different from the other criminals who kidnap children. The Hague Convention recognizes the rights of the child. And most countries that have ratified the Hague Convention abide by its laws. Japan is one country that has continuously and maliciously ignored the laws of the Hague Convention despite having ratified it in 2014, and has in the history of Japan never, I say it again, never returned an abducted child.
I want to stay with my dad and I don't want to stay with my mom, and I don't want to go to Japan. It's because if I go to Japan, I can't see my dad again, because I have a younger sister in Japan called Sonia, and my dad, Abba couldn't see Sonia for about roughly 2 years now, and not even one FaceTime call. No text message, no emails, and I know if I go to Japan, I can't see my dad again too. So that's why I'm not going.
The courts always issue a decree that the Japanese parent shall lawfully obtain sole custody of the abducted child, even though the Hague Convention clearly states it is illegal to do so. Never before in the history of Japanese abductions has the court rejected a Japanese national's claim of custody. My question is, why isn't the world angry about every other case where a child was illegally removed from the custody of one parent and taken to Japan? This is a horrific injustice and a crime against the well-being of the child. Let's put the father's pain and anguish to the side for a moment. Imagine the older sister's pain and anguish of not seeing her younger brother. Can you really ignore this? Fukuhara should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And Japan should start reviewing old cases and demand the release of those children who have been abducted with the threat of prosecution. Parents in Japan who have continuously and maliciously ignored the right to visitation should also be threatened with prosecution. These people need to learn that visitation is a basic human right and that a child should have access to both parents. The damage to children is immeasurable. Child abduction is an ongoing terrible crime in Japan. Without your support, it will never end.